All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Paperwork Podcast. Respace, what episode are we on?
30. Probably.
Yeah, there's great. I thought you were going to be more excited.
Oh my god, it's episode 30.
That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 30 of Paperwork Podcast with Chill Boys, Respace, Peach, and Walton. And in honor, Peachy wanted to say a few things. Peachy, can you wanted to say something in honor of episode 30? He's not here again. That was the joke. I think he said
do not adjust your headset or whatever.
Or your car volume.
Yes.
Yeah, Peachy is not here and Respace is a little drunk, so this is gonna make for all the things of a fantastic episode.
I had to drink my sorrows away. The Eagles lost a very ugly game.
I did not see a majority of the game. And
I won't spoil it for you, but the Eagles lost.
I already saw that. But so Peachy's not here. Respace is drunk, and to make things even more fun, and this is really going to draw your attention in, our original plans for this episode we just had a little speed bump with them, so we had to make a couple last minute adjustments. Don't worry about that. Those initial plans are going to probably come out within the next couple weeks. So
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Just, life happens, and so that's where that is. So we found this out maybe 30 minutes before we were about to record, so we really don't have a full topic for this week. So me and Respace are sitting here before we go on, what can we talk about? What can we talk about? I just had the idea. Let's throw on the mics and go from there.
Yeah,
Respace, what do you think?
I hated that idea.
Well, you hate it because, one, you have a zebra dress on or in your room right now, which I don't.
I'm wearing that zebra dress. It's just there.
If the audience could see what I'm seeing through the video. But no, so I was just going to kind of go through the initial idea. We kind of talked about this as doing it as a full episode. So we're just going to be riffing around. Is going to be. I'm actually pretty excited because I've wanted to do something like this for a while. The one thing that sucks is that I can't truly comment on, and just because I don't have New Japan World, is the New Japan Fighting Spirit Unleashed, I guess pay-per-view or show is on tonight, the one that's being filmed out at Walton Pyramid somewhere in California. I want to say it's San Francisco. That's on right now, but I'm not able to watch it. Access is airing it next week, so I'm going to probably watch it then. But that's a pretty decent card for kind of I think it's their third U.S. show. It has Cody versus Juice for the United States Championship, which, now, I know we talked about something, but hear me out on this thought with Cody. So Cody became this bit, I guess, when Cody left WWE, the questions always came up, is he going to make it? Is he going to, be able to thrive out there in the independent scene? When I was thinking about it, I was never really concerned about Cody Rhodes thriving out there. He always had that name value to him.
Right.
Juice Robinson, on the other hand, I think is the real success story after leaving WWE, because he really didn't have a huge name value with him. His biggest claim to fame is he lost Kevin Owens' inaugural match, and he broke Kevin Owens' nose.
Yeah.
In that very first match. But then he went over to New Japan. I believe he was a young lion for a little bit, and then how he evolved his character and just he came up through the system there, and he's your current U.S. champion in New Japan. I just love the way he's evolved.
Yeah, I tend to agree. What was his name in NXT? I remember he was the hippie guy.
CJ Parker, was that it?
CGA something.
I'll take a look real fast.
Yes, I do you think it's a little bit of both, though? Right now, you're looking at that match.
CJ Parker was his NXT name.
Do you think it's a little bit CJ Parker / Juice Robinson, a success story for him? But it's, to be honest with you, don't you think it's a little bit lower than I think a lot of people expected Cody to be right now? Like, do you think it's a little bit like Cody has kind of come down lower than probably what the hype was when he left, and then Juice Robinson's make that step? So, like, right now where you have them at right there, the U.S. title match, like, do you not think it's a little bit of both? A little bit, like,
I think finally Cody is settling in. Like, I think he had that hype going out, and he was testing all the different markets. So, like, he was in all the different, like, independent scenes. Like, he was in TNA for, like, a couple of appearances. When it was What Culture Wrestling, he was over there. He had a great match. I think it was against Kurt Angle. I think that match was over there. He was jumping around to all the different independent scenes, but now he's settled to where he's got the contract with Ring of Honor. He's got the contract with New Japan. And just is working that out. But, so, like, that's why I guess you can say he's playing, main event talent, like, so your main eventers, they never should be the main event every single time. They need to find their place in the card to let other people elevate and things like that. And I think that's where Cody's at. Cody is dwindling down to, like, being, like, the mid-card status, but still that main event guy. But Juice Robinson, I think, has stepped up immensely. And, like, his character development, his wrestling, his in-ring work has been awesome. His match against Jay White for the U.S. title was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just...
and I'm not saying it's not more Juice, playing above what was expected. But, like, in the weirdest way possible, and you may agree or disagree with me, where Cody is right now, it's kind of where Jericho is right now, where Rey Mysterio is right now, but there's a huge difference in age. Like, don't you kind of get that feeling that Cody is in that little almost pigeonholed spot where Rey Mysterio and Jericho is, where they don't need to be the main event. They probably won't be the main event, but their name is kind of being used in that mid-card kind of status.
I see what you're saying. I don't think so yet. No, not yet. I can see it possibly happening, but right. I think, I think Cody's right where he needs to be, because it's not the main event of the show tonight. The main event is, I think, Ishii and Okada versus the Golden Lovers, Omega and Ibushi.
I think, and that might be a little bit of my point, though. Like, those guys are the main event guys when you think of New Japan, like, those are the guys you think of, and maybe I'm thinking too WWE short term. I think
you're too drunk right now. I think that's what the problem is.
No, I'm being serious though. Like, I think, like, part of me thinks New Japan missed the boat when they had Omega and Cody, like, right there. Like, right at the beginning of their kind of...
I don't think, and I'm trying to remember, and I forget where their matches were, but I don't know if... Did Omega and Cody fight on a New Japan show? Their first one-on-one match was Supercard of Honor this past WrestleMania. And then I don't know... I forget if they had a second match. Maybe their second match was at the New Japan show in the U.S. I forget exactly.
But, like, I feel like the biggest part of that Bullet Club feud was almost like Young Bucks against Omega more than it was Cody. You know what I mean?
Well, was the Young Bucks how, like, basically they were being split, like how they were torn between Cody and then is Ibushi in Bullet Club then?
I don't know. I don't know enough about New Japan. I'm not going to sit here and act like I do.
Yeah, I don't. I obviously I know more than you, but that's not much. That's not saying much. You also, what else is on that card? Ospreay versus Marty Scurll, which should be a good match. I'm excited. I'll watch this next week on Access. But yeah, so I was thinking about that while I was trying to fix my washer today. So That's what I think about. So we'll jump off quickly of like kind of what we had talked about maybe as a topic for last week, but we didn't go with it. Was Shawn Michaels apparently might be coming out of retirement for one more match is it in Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia? Is that the one he's rumored to come out for?
Is that the next one?
Well, you have the Australia Super Show, which I believe is next Saturday.
Where he's going to be in Triple H's corner.
Yes, I believe.
So, yes, I believe, and it's the rumor, and actually, if you listen to last week's episode, we talked a little spoiler, and we told you to kind of skip over, and we talked about it a little bit, but rumor has it is they offered Shawn Michaels a fuck ton, and that I read that in an article somewhere. It said fuck ton amount of money to come out of retirement. Basically a number that he couldn't refuse. And I'm pretty sure it was Crown Jewel. That's like you said, it's a second Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah, I believe. Hold on, let me just look at that real fast because last time we talked about this, I got a lot of my information wrong, and
I'm pretty sure it is Crown Jewel, and I'm going to continue like it is, and you correct me if I'm wrong.
It is in Saudi Arabia. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, yeah.
I wanted, because last time we started talking about this, I got countries mixed up, and it was just very poor of me, and so I wanted to just at least make sure I got this information credited. Yeah, it's the Crown Jewel event in Saudi Arabia is where he's rumored to come back for. Yeah, I also heard something about Survivor Series, but that's
it. I know they talked about possibly a tag team match, basically building off this match where it would be Undertaker and Kane against Shawn Michaels and Triple H. I know that was kind of the rumor going out there, and it sounds like it is going to happen, which just sucks. But then it sounds like it's not only going to be that and I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. I know I've read that he might actually be coming back for multiple matches.
Yeah, I think I don't know what it is. I honestly, when I see something that pop up with Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement, I just ignore it.
Yeah. But this sounds like it's more truth than rumor from the sound of it, and I tend to believe that other rumor that was out there about The Rock.
What's the rumor about The Rock?
Apparently, Saudi Arabia offered $20 million for them to have The Rock be the champion coming into the 2019 version of
Yeah.
Oh now, my God. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But apparently, they were offering. Now, I think they were offering The Rock himself $20 million to perform there, and they want him as champion.
And there is no wonder why. And I just looked this up. WWE's current stock price is $96 a share. Good. This is where I'm torn. So, the fan in me, and I'm thinking like, I don't know exactly how you feel about this Rest Pass, but I'll just go. Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement. I want him to stay retired. I think the problem. So the Ric Flair Shawn Michaels match, and that was his retirement match, was a beautiful ending to Ric Flair's in-ring career that he went and ruined in TNA and doing all that other stuff that just really just ruined that kind of story. Like, it was WWE retirement now, and same thing with Michaels. Michaels had a similar story. The Undertaker, it added so much value to that match, and that's one of the reasons why I think that match still is held in high regard. Not only was it a great match, but the fact that Michael stayed retired. He has not come out of retirement. And it's probably going to happen. It always happens. And I remember Michael's speech. It was the Monday Night Raw, or the Raw after that WrestleMania. During his farewell speech, he said something along the lines of he's going to do his best to stay retired, because he even made reference kind of to Ric Flair, saying, I know what you all think, that I'm not going to stay retired, that I'm going to go wrestle somewhere else, but he's like, I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure that I stay retired. And he has. But if they're throwing the money figures that they're saying, you can't fault the guy. I just hope, what I hope happens is he doesn't look like Flair did after his retirement. Like, none of Flair's matches afterwards were really good. Like, he just looked old. And Michaels looks in great shape. I just hope he can still carry a match. Now, if Michaels does come out of retirement, do I want to see DX versus the Brothers of Destruction? Kind of, but not really. Like, the nostalgic fan of me wants to, but not really. The match I want to see, and I think everybody wants to see, and it's probably you want to see it also, is Michaels versus Styles.
That is not the match I want to see, but I would like to see it.
What match would you like to see?
Daniel Bryan against HBK. That's a match we didn't get to see that had been rumored before. And I realized Bryan might be on his last leg too, but that's the match I've wanted to see.
What would the story? So the storyline would be essentially you could.
Isn't it student against teacher, right?
Depending on what it is, I remember there was a joke, or I think it was on TV or something. It was like, Bryan learned from William Regal. He just paid Shawn Michaels money to go to his school. Or something like that with Bryan. But yeah, you could do the student versus teacher angle. But I think I would want to see Styles, because Styles could pull a phenomenal match, no pun intended, out of Shawn Michaels.
Definitely a pun intended there.
Out of Michaels this late in his career, especially since we don't know what he's going to look like.
And that's true. I think the only thing I'm thinking is because they teased the Daniel Bryan, Shawn Michaels thing during the whole Triple H B+ player thing.
They did.
They kind of teased it then, so it's the easiest route to go.
Because didn't Michaels also cost Daniel Bryan a match for the title?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
But I would give my 2 cents here on the retirement thing. I agree with you in the sense that they're offering money. You can't blame them. I just wish that WWE would do the right thing and not put this shit on TV. And we talked about this last week. Dude, have the event. Have Saudi Arabia not realize that Hulk Hogan's not still your champion. Take their money and don't put it on the network. I don't need to see Shawn Michaels wrestle again. I'd rather kayfabe. That's right, kayfabe. Think that he's still retired and read that he wrestled in Saudi Arabia than to see an older Shawn Michaels wrestling.
But here's the thing. So the problem that's going to happen is I realize we're on a podcast and I shouldn't sit here to try to think my words. I should actually try to talk them out so our audience can actually listen to us. Here's the problem, though, is you have Shawn Michaels wrestle in Saudi Arabia. It's just, let's say it doesn't air. It's just a true house show.
Right.
You're going to get grainy cell phone camera footage of that match pieced together, and it's going to look like shit. And
but it might look like shit on the network.
It's not going to. The production value would be...
Exactly. And let's say he's not prepared for this match. Now you're getting the shitty Ric Flair, out of shape, old Shawn Michaels, right?
I don't
and
think
that's
Shawn
the
Michaels...
lasting memory of him.
Yeah,
I'd rather see it in grainy footage.
I
don't want to see him in HD struggling through a match.
At least we'll get the entrances and stuff like that in HD, and that's what I would rather.
It's literally going to be Kane wrestling Triple H. That's what that match is going to be.
Hey, Mayor of Knoxville, Kane, all right? Do you see what they're doing with him, too, instead of paying him for the event?
No.
They're making a donation, I think, to, like, the Knoxville Police Department of, like, $100,000 or...
Is it Knoxville or is it, like, Knox County?
I thought it was Knoxville. Maybe I'm thinking of Johnny Knoxville. I don't know. Maybe Knox County. Wherever he's mayor of, they're giving a donation to like the police department or like somewhere like a organization there instead of paying Kane for the event. Which I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, good on Kane. Yeah, good on Kane for not taking the payday for doing the kind of the right thing with it, even though I guess, being a professional wrestler and a mayor can possibly be difficult at times.
Right. Well, Saudi Arabia is still waiting for Yokozuna to come out in the Greatest Royal Rumble. So,
man, you are bitter.
What
kind of beer were you drinking today that you're so bitter?
Oh my God.
A hoppy beer?
But like that's literally the whole point of this. Is Saudi Arabia has no idea who wrestles now. Literally, that's the only reason any of this is happening.
True.
The Rock may end up being the champion after WrestleMania next year because they're offering $20 million for him. Like, think about this. Think about it. That they are going to make a major event, like one of their main matches, before guys that don't wrestle. And then they're saying, hey, next year, we want a movie star to be your champion coming into our show.
That's a poor choice of words. It's not like it's David Arquette coming back as champion again.
It literally is right now.
No, it's not.
The Rock... No, actually, it is not. David Arquette has wrestled more matches than The Rock has in the last couple months. David Arquette has trained more to be a wrestler in the last couple months than The Rock has. David Arquette is more in wrestling shape right now than The Rock is. So you're right, it is not the same thing.
Oh my God, you are... That is terrible. I wish Peachy was here. I would really I wish Peachy was here for this one. This would have been an interesting topic for
it would have
for him to comment on.
I get what you're saying. It sucks. It sucks, and I know it's more of about their livelihood and them making money than it is them just staying retired. It's no different than anything else. Not to get too far off of wrestling here, but to say that the Chicago Bulls right now offered Michael Jordan $20 million to come out of retirement and play one game, would he not do it? He'd do it in a fucking heartbeat.
Of course, because he has a gambling problem.
Yeah.
Come on, you know that.
I was gonna say something, but I don't. I was going to say Shawn Michaels has it, but yeah, I don't want to start any rumors here. We're getting too big, you know.
Yeah. No, but here's the thing, and this is the only thing. So if Saudi Arabia is offering The Rock $20 million, The Rock might not do it because that might be too much like of a time commitment for him to be able to do.
What time commitment? You mean for him to win the title at one show, not show up again until Saudi Arabia, go to that show, lose the title in Saudi Arabia, and then you're done.
The level that The Rock is of a movie star right now, $20 million, while is a lot to us, and in theory, like, yes, that's a lot of money, he might not. He's at a point in his career where he can turn that down and not be affected by it. Yeah, he could, because doing a movie could be less stressful for him, and he can do possibly other things as well.
Now, you think he has more time on his hands, more free time on his hands, doing a movie than he does wrestling 2 matches?
I'm just saying that the time commitment that would be needed for him to possibly do it is
to put on the best of the best, but that's not what they're asking of him. They're just asking he's not just going matches.
He's literally not going to just walk in there and never train to wrestle.
Why wouldn't he? If that's all they're asking of him.
Well, he didn't do it last time. He was training last time. He trained with Curtis Axel.
Did Saudi Arabia give him $20 million? Did they give WWE
you realize
money
that's
for
probably
him to
what
come
he?
in here?
You realize that's what he probably makes doing a movie, right?
How long do you think it takes him to make a movie?
The time split up. It depends on the movie. Shooting's usually probably 30 days, maybe a month.
Okay.
Okay, and if they're shooting the movie in Hollywood, that's where he lives, or down in Florida, or something like that, because that's the big movie star, so he can dictate that. So he doesn't have to leave his house.
Now, how much of that $20 million does he get? How much does his agent get? How much does his stylist get?
You realize he's not going to get all $20 million. The same breakdown that you're saying for the movies is going to be the same breakdown from Saudi Arabia.
He has a wrestling agent. All these people that are helping him with movies
You are playing peachy today.
No, but I'm being serious though. Like
I'm
he
also
doesn't have the same people.
Also, this is legitimate too. He might turn it down because it could affect his career.
It could, but it's like
because he can get hurt.
It's no different than anything else, and you see it with a lot of athletes and stuff, and everybody's like, "That's crazy. They make this amount of money. How'd they lose all their money?" But you don't think about it. Like, I remember seeing a breakdown of like the different athletes and how much money they make, and it would be like, you know, LeBron James makes X amount of money, but he sees like a quarter of it because he's got an accountant and he has an agent and he has this, and they all take percentage of it, right? Now, movie stars are the same thing. They're the same thing. They have agencies and everything like that. And just because Rock randomly day...
Is this a business podcast now?
Yes, it is. Okay. Just because somebody randomly walks up to The Rock and says, "Hey, will you star in my movie?" You think his agent doesn't still get his cut? But his agent is for movies. It's not for wrestling. Do you think he has a wrestling agent?
No, he probably has the exact same agent.
You think he has the same agent getting him wrestling deals?
It's not getting wrestling. Usually one person has an agent. Like, it's just an agent that will negotiate on their behalf. That, like...
I don't think so. I think you're wrong. There's different agents for different things. Like, you can't be, like, an agent for basketball and then also discuss a football deal. Like, you can't go across different stuff like that.
It's all the same thing.
You think so, but they need a license in it and shit like that.
What, to be an agent?
Yes.
To negotiate? Okay.
Yes.
I don't know.
They really do. Yeah, I don't know as opposed to Hollywood and stuff like that.
Probably not. Legitimately, no, because WWE is not a sport. So it is just an entertainment. So it's the same thing as a TV show like Ballers is what he does. So it's probably in the same vein as that.
Well, how many wrestlers have an agent?
I don't know. I don't look this up.
I would assume none of them.
No, I'm sure they do.
For their outside deals outside of WWE.
No, they have agents that deal with their contracts and stuff like that.
I wouldn't think so.
So you're saying Roman Reigns sits down himself with Vince McMahon to discuss their contract?
Yes.
That's dumb.
He might have a lawyer or something like that.
No, they all have agents for that stuff. Not all of them. Yeah, it's all.
I would like to look that up because I don't. You never hear about them. You hear about them in everything else. You hear about them in Hollywood and shit like that. You don't hear about them with wrestling because they're independent contractors and all those stupid shit.
But even if you're an independent contractor, you can still have an agent that.
But they're considered employees. Why wouldn't an agent tell them, "Hey, get the hell out of here"?
They're not considered employees.
They can't go anywhere else.
That's because it's in their contract. They're not employees, though, because the employee.
What kind of dumbass agent?
Listen to me. This conversation has come up recently with healthcare, because WWE employees in Stanford have benefits because they're employees of WWE. Wrestlers are just independent contractors, so they're not.
Exactly. What kind of independent contractor has an agent?
I don't know. I don't work with any of them.
All right.
Okay. So, how did we get? Oh, okay. I forgot how we got to here at this point.
I would like to know this though. For real though, because I'm under the impression there is no agent.
Yeah, maybe not every single person has an agent. Like maybe like a Zack Ryder or something like that low tier might not have an agent or something like that. But I'm sure some of your bigger guys do to negotiate the contracts and things like that.
Okay. No, I've always been under the impression that they didn't have agents.
Because even if you're an independent contractor, like think about like you can hire someone to go negotiate on your behalf, and you're paying them. They work for you. So
right. No, and like I said, you can be completely right. I have no idea.
Like that's where like The Rock would say. I would say he probably just has one agent that he deals with.
But see, and I don't think so. I don't think so because I know, and you could say sports is different, but I don't think it is. I know there was like certain agencies that weren't like certain agents were not allowed to cross over to different sports because they were licensed in one, and it's like, you need to be, and it's possible there's an agent that's licensed in multiple things, and they've found their way through it. I don't know, but I remember there was an issue not that long ago, where like it was like an agent who was only licensed in one sport, and he tried to sign a client to another sport, but he wasn't licensed in it yet, or something like that. So the deal couldn't go through, whatever the hell it was.
You might be right, because I'm looking up Scott Boras. What is that his name?
The guy from baseball.
Yeah, he just has all baseball. I thought he had more people.
Now, he might be a part of an agency that also does other sports, but that's what I'm saying. As far as the agent, and maybe that's where what you're saying is maybe The Rock is a part of an agency that has a wrestling agent and also a Hollywood agent, and they kind of all work as a team for him as opposed to one person. Yeah. That's possible, because I doubt he goes to one agency to another, you know.
Yeah, I'm done talking about the business of agents and wrestling.
Yeah, you know, I think it was just something that's never crossed my mind. As weird as it sounds, it's never crossed my mind if wrestlers had agents.
All I'm saying is, in regards to The Rock, is if they're offering him $20 million, there's a shot that he's at a point in his career he can turn that down without a worry. But
you're telling me they wouldn't bump it up more?
I'm just going off of the $20 million that's presented. I'm not like...
Let's say they jack it up to $50 million. Think he still turns it down?
I don't know.
They say you literally have to show up to WrestleMania, beat Roman Reigns, then lose to Roman Reigns at the next Saudi Arabia pay-per-view.
Now, here's the only thing, and this is like... Part of me disagrees with this. If they build that up right, I'd be interested in that story.
No, and I said that because I feel like that's one of the few storylines that would make sense for The Rock to be back. And it would make sense for The Rock to do it. And I think that's why I'm saying it is like it gets him back in it. If it's built up the correct way, it makes sense. He literally just has to do TV tapings. You know, like they can record shit of him talking shit to Reigns. He doesn't have to show up. You know, and then he helps put Reigns over by losing to him in Saudi Arabia. But you're saying, hey, you just have to record some things for us, wrestle 2 matches, and here's $50 million. You don't have to train, do anything. Just fucking show up. That's all we're asking. We don't care. We don't care how sloppy the match is. Just show up. And I realize what you're saying. He probably does not want that to show up on like his highlight reel or whatever. You know, he doesn't want that to show up if you search a Rock match to see that he's sloppy as shit in the ring.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Is like he might not want that necessarily, like that relation or anything like that.
But I feel like Shawn Michaels has more pride when it comes to ability in the ring than The Rock would.
Oh, definitely.
So I think it's a little bit comparing apples and oranges in that sense, where I think The Rock on charisma alone could get by without doing much in the ring.
Yeah. So, side note, and I'm going to derail the subject a little bit, but that's what this episode is. Yeah. House of Hardcore just looks like it announced for their 12/8 show, December 8th in Philly.
Are we going? I haven't texted you about it.
Did you text me about this?
I said I haven't. I meant to send a text to our normal group.
So one person I think we just mentioned is going to be on the show.
The Rock.
David Arquette, it looks like.
Oh my god.
Edge looks like he's going to be there.
Edge is going to be there, just probably not wrestling.
Yeah, probably. Just looking at the thing, it looks like it's called Indie Darlings is the name of the event, and it looks like Edge, Tommy Dreamer, and Bully Ray. It looks like Nick Aldis, Willie Mack, Joey Ryan, Shane Strickland, Brian Cage.
Team Tremendous?
Huh?
Team Tremendous?
They're not on the poster.
Oh my god.
And then it looks like David Arquette. I'm not sure if that is him or not in like the one top left corner, but I'm
only going with Team Tremendous is going to be there. I've been to 2 shows now. They've been there both times.
But I might just go for Joey Ryan.
I hope it's Joey Bryan against Dave Arquette.
That I would not be upset to see that. So all right, so I threw out the first couple things. Do you have anything you want to talk about?
Well, let's go back to what our topic might have been last week.
I don't want to go into the retirement stuff. I didn't do research on it, so that's the only reason.
Who cares?
What else did you want to bring up with it?
It's more about like, do you ever feel like it is okay for a guy to come out of retirement that is not a Daniel Bryan-esque retirement? Where, like, he's forced into it, but he really shouldn't have been forced into it, kind of thing?
That is one of the reasons why I think I love professional wrestling as much as I do, because you do have the opportunity that, with the way professional wrestling is, you can have guys at a Shawn Michaels age not do it for years and possibly come out and put on a tremendous match and tell a story.
Right.
You don't have that ability in football. You don't have it in baseball. You don't have it in hockey. Hockey might be the closest thing you do have it in, just because you have fucking Yager. Is he still playing? Probably. I assume so. But like I
think football and baseball.
But you can't. You don't like looking at it from a Shawn Michaels standpoint. When was WrestleMania? What was it? WrestleMania 27? 26. So almost 8 years out of the ring, and he's possibly coming back. Again, we don't know what kind of ability he's going to be able to perform, but even at a medium level Shawn Michaels ability, has a chance to knock that out of the park.
And I think baseball's probably the closest thing.
Probably
and as a pitcher. If you're a top-level pitcher and you haven't played for a couple of years and you come back with different pitches, I think that's probably the closest comparison when it comes to sports.
Maybe even hitting, but yeah, but that's gonna definitely. I don't know, but I don't think you would ever be on. I don't know if you could ever make it back into the majors after like an 8-year hiatus.
I think you could. I think a team would
it be like a David Wright scenario? So, like, I'll use that. That's not an exact example. But David Wright this weekend, even though he plays for the Mets, right. Sorry for any Mets fans, but fuck the Mets. They let. I thought it was a good sign. Like, I wish the Phillies would have did it with Jimmy Rollins, but they let David Wright come out. He hasn't played in a game since 2016. I think it was May 2016, and he started today or yesterday on Saturday, and he went in as a pitch hitter. I don't think he got a hit. I think he took a walk,
right?
And he came out in like the 4th inning or something like that. But that was only 2 years, and I don't know. Like, I don't see.
But see, hitters in my mind is a little bit different. But let's say Mariano Rivera next year decides, you know what, I still have enough left in the tank. And teams go out and see him, and he comes out and he's pitching, maybe 4 or 5 miles less on his fastball. It's not as great. Well, but it's Mariano Rivera,
and he never threw a fastball.
But either way, I'm just saying it's Mariano Rivera. He's the greatest or one of the greatest closers of all time. And he's coming out, and it's just to pitch 1 inning. It's just to pitch 40 times a year. You're telling me a bunch of teams are not lining up to at least see what he has? Well, and if they think it's okay, they're not offering him at least spring training invites?
Oh, spring training invites, no doubt. But
that's what Shawn Michaels competing in Saudi Arabia is. It's a spring training invite. They're not saying come main event WrestleMania. They're saying we want you to be in a tag team match that's probably going to go on first in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, no.
That shit ain't going to main event it. The triple threat match is going to main event it.
I'm sorry, yeah. No, but Taker, Triple H is apparently main eventing the Australia show.
Yeah, it's Australia.
Whoa. Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for our Australian listeners.
No,
I'm drunk.
Based off of what you said, you're right, because everything's flipped upside down under there. You're saying it's the first show. Yeah, okay, yeah. So that's how you save a segment. I don't like, so the example you used, I'm like nitpicking it just because no shit Mo is going to be fine if he comes back, because all he did was threw a slider literally every pitch. But
did Shawn Michaels, and I might grab heat for this, did Shawn Michaels do anything that he can't do at an older age?
The kip up, which has been all over Reddit recently. I would be, if he couldn't do that, I do not want to see him in the ring. That was a basic Shawn Michaels thing. If he can't do that, I don't want to see him in the ring. The elbow drop, which can he still jump off a rope? Yes, anybody can jump off a rope, but can his body handle that? He used to do a crossbody, I don't know what it's exactly called, but where he would be facing the audience on the top turnbuckle and then spin around into a crossbody onto the guy. He would do that.
But they're bringing him in for a tag team match. He'd literally sit on the outside, have the crowd get excited for him.
Yeah, but those are his signature moves. And
he can grab a hot tag at the very end of the match, super kick both Kane and The Undertaker, and grab the pin.
Yes, in theory, yes. If you give him that Goldberg style match to where that's all he's doing, yes, you can do it.
And that's all they need out of him. That's the thing. You don't need him to go out there and give a 5-star match.
I do.
That's not what they're asking out of him. I know that's what you do. That's what people who don't want to see him come out of retirement wants to see. They want to see Mr. WrestleMania, but you're not getting it. You're not.
See, I don't know. I think you could.
You can't. There's a reason why he retired.
Well, I think he retired just because the daily grind that he was doing was getting so much on him that he really couldn't do it up to what his level was. I do think, and to your point about Shawn Michaels having a lot of pride and stuff like that, I think if he comes out of retirement, he still thinks he can go, maybe not 5-star match quality, but it would still be a 4-star match. Especially depending on listen, now if
if all the stars align.
Well, yeah, you're not going to be Shawn Michaels ain't going to be able to pull the Undertaker in his current state through a 4-star match. That's not happening just because.
But that's all Saudi Arabia wants to see. They don't want to see AJ Styles against Shawn Michaels. They care to see Shawn Michaels against everybody that he wrestled against 20 years ago.
Which I'm fine with, because here's the only thing I'll say, and this is another reason why I really enjoy wrestling, is that you can get some of these nostalgic matches today that you got 8 years ago. You can still see and, hear the stories and get that same... God damn, I keep on banging my headset into the microphone. You can still get a lot of these stories and a lot of these matches to still happen today that you don't get in other sports.
Now, serious question. All right? This is serious. This is serious talk right here.
All right.
Do you think they could tell Saudi Arabia, the crowd, that they're doing this in the U.S. and then just show an old tag team match of them and say it's happening live?
Wait, what?
If they show the audience in Saudi Arabia an old tag team match of Kane and Undertaker against Triple H. Those listening did not see Walton's face right there when he finally realized what I was talking about.
Because that was so stupid. This is a dumb question, though, and this is actually something I don't know. Has DX faced the Brothers of Destruction?
I'd be willing to bet yes.
That's what I don't know. I don't remember them ever fighting as a tag team.
Oh my god! I'm gonna look this up right now, and they're gonna have wrestled 18 times.
we're talking about on TV, right? Not like house shows or stuff like that. I don't know. Like, I can't remember. Like, maybe if they did this was in the, like, late 90s, early 2000s. But here's the thing, and hear me out when I'm saying this. You do have to think it is kind of cool that I'm talking about, like, oh, these guys might have wrestled in the late 90s, early 2000s, and we're still able to get that match again in 2018. Like, to me, that is one of the cool things about wrestling, that you can reproduce some of this stuff from almost 20 years ago.
I agree, as long as it's not being billed as a co-main event. It's almost like the last Saudi Arabia pay-per-view. It was at Cena against Triple H.
Yes.
Wasn't that was the first match, right?
Yep.
So it got the crowd into it, you know. They got the crowd into it with a match with two guys they knew. Like, that's what that needs to be. It needs to be a match to get the crowd ready for the rest of the night or the main event or whatever. You know, they can't bill it as a co-main event. They can't bill it as once in a lifetime. It can't be the Rock scene at WrestleMania. You know what I mean? They can't bill it to that hype, because even if they give us the best that the four of them can give us right now, it's still not going to be good enough to the name. You know, it's not going to live up to what that should be. So even if they never wrestled before, which I don't feel like doing the research, but I'm assuming they did at some point.
You're just confirming that I'm right. That's fine.
But let's say
I'm being serious. Like, I'm trying to remember a time when Shawn Michaels and Triple H would have teamed together, because when you had DX against the corporation or the corporate ministry or the Ministry of Darkness, Shawn Michaels wasn't there because he was out with his back injuries. By the time you got DX back together with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, like Undertaker and Kane weren't really doing the Brothers of Destruction thing very often, and especially because I think Taker was mostly on SmackDown, and Triple H and Michaels were always on Raw. They never had a chance to kind of.
I just feel like it had to have happened at some point.
I'm assuming it has happened, but I can't. Yeah. I can't distinctly remember a time when it happened.
See, and I may be in the mind. Now, you want to see this match, right?
What, Michaels Triple H versus Kane and Taker? I'll take it. Like, if I'm gonna get it, yeah. I don't.
I don't. I don't care about Michaels' retirement. I don't want to see it. Now, I'm
now if this opens the door. Now, this is where I think I'm probably going with it. Is if it opens the door for Michaels to come back and wrestle other matches, and I get a Styles Michaels match, then I'll be happy.
If you tell me this is their last match ever, all four of them, they're never going to wrestle again. If you tell me that, which will never happen because Triple H will always wrestle at some point because he'll always be that Vince McMahon type role. So that they can't confirm this. The only way I'm excited to see this match is if you confirm that none of those four guys ever wrestle again. I don't want to see it. They have too much talent on their roster right now to have to give me fluff like that to try to sell a pay-per-view. And I realize that's what they might want to see, or their president or whatever of Saudi Arabia wants to see.
Here's why I don't care. And I think this makes the most sense. I'm not paying for this. Like, I pay my $9.99 for the WWE Network every month. And to me, that's a deal. Like, I will pay that just if I watch only WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble.
It's true.
So that's where I don't care, because I will get to see the stuff that I want to see. Because I get NXT. Because I have so much other stuff to where if I want to see wrestling, I'm going to get it at some point.
But like, see now, if you give me the rest of that pay-per-view, right?
But if that's the thing, I'm not paying You're right. I would not pay $60 for a pay-per-view to see Shawn Michaels Triple H versus the Brothers of Destruction.
I wouldn't pay $10 for it.
I'm not paying $60. I'm just going what the old pricing was. I don't know if there's I'm not looking at a price range for something. Oh yeah, I would get this. I would have to see, but it's included in my $10 a month. So yeah, sure.
See,
I'll take it.
That part I agree with.
I actually took off for the last Saudi Arabia show too.
That's your fault.
I had a day to kill or something from work for a vacation day, and I was just like, oh, I'll take this Friday. I think I had something else going on, and so I was just like, oh, that means I can watch the Saudi Arabia show because it was during the day, and I forget what I watched it over I forget whose house, but I just went over there, watched it. It was a nice day. It was funny, and then I went home, ordered a Santucci's pizza, and went to sleep.
See, the only reason why I'm against it, and if that's the only match with those type of guys, and I guess I can understand it, but I feel like it's one of those things where every Saudi Arabia show they have, right? Every one of these shows are going to turn out to be, let's bring back these guys. And I feel like the only way that their audience is going to get to know the talent they have now, and to be honest with you, they do the same shit with their own pay-per-views. They rely too much on certain guys and not use the talent that they have sitting on their roster. They have main event talent right now on their roster that they don't use like main event talent.
So here's one thing I'll kind of pose to you. Do you think this is a way of getting people back into wrestling, though? So I don't know what the
people of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So, and that's maybe that's what they're doing, and this is going to evolve over the years, and yes, you are going to get you're going to get these shows where you're going to have big name matches that we don't necessarily want to see.
And that's what I'm saying. If the rest of the card is showcasing Nakamura, Styles, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens.
Let me look up the last. Let me look up the last Saudi Arabia card because I think you got that in the.
But and maybe it did. And I'm just saying, if they're using these one match, and I said I liked what they did the last one because they had Cena and Triple H, and then they showcased everybody else around them.
You had so just other matches. So this was basically a follow-up match to, I think this was the card right after WrestleMania.
Yes.
You had, here you go, Showcase in Newtown, and here's what they did do this. So you had Triple H versus Cena. There was your big match. You had Undertaker versus Rusev. There you go, Showcase in Newtown, because you had Rusev and Aiden English in that match, a part of that match. Okay. Again, Rusev is not new, but he's up and coming, and he's one of the names that you want to build a brand around now. You had a Styles Nakamura match. You had a Fatal 4-Way ladder match for the IC title. Rollins, Balor, Joe, and The Miz. You had Hardy versus Jinder. Bray and Matt Hardy versus Cesaro and Sheamus. So yeah, you had a pretty basic backlash card, kind of, for this, just in Saudi Arabia, with the thrown in of Cena and Triple H in an Undertaker match.
Right.
Showcase during the that 50-man Royal Rumble match. Daniel Bryan entering number 1, going almost an hour and 20 minutes. Kurt Angle was in there as well. So you definitely got a good mix, I think, of a good mix of the nostalgia matches, big name matches, and of the current product of matches. And here's the thing, we're already talking about the Crown Jewel stuff now because of the rumored matches.
Right.
And they still have to fill out the rest of that card. If the way the program's going, you're probably going to get a Styles Samoa Joe match for the WWE Championship during this card. Or if you don't get that, you're going to get either The Miz or Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles on this card, because at the Australian show, whoever wins that match gets a WWE Championship opportunity. So they might put that on that show. So that's going to be good. So you might get Styles versus Daniel Bryan on that Saudi Arabia show. I'm drawn in right there.
Right.
See,
and that's my biggest thing is if it eventually phases out over time, I don't mind it. The fact that they're already talking about the possibility of The Rock as champion, it's different about wanting to get Rock on the card next year, right?
Yeah, I didn't know that
to have
The
him
Rock
there
was
as the
be...
champion. And I don't know how real the rumor is. I have no clue.
Yeah,
I'm just going off of a rumor that I've seen. But if there is even a tidbit of truth to that, they're already looking at next year of wanting a guy who's not a full-time participant to be the champion. And maybe WWE had thoughts of possibly doing that anyway, and that's why they asked for it. I don't know. And to be honest with you, if this keeps part-timers out of my WrestleMania matches by putting them in shows like this in different countries that they're trying to bring audiences back into wrestling, I'm perfectly fine with it. If it keeps them out of my WrestleMania, my SummerSlam, you know what I'm saying? If it keeps them out of my big pay-per-views, if it keeps part-timers out, unless it's integral to some storyline that makes sense, you know, like some type of authority with Triple H or something like that, or The Undertaker can still wrestle at WrestleMania, I'm fine with that. But if it keeps these guys out of main slots of main pay-per-views by calling them main pay-per-views, these super shows in different countries, by trying to bring in audiences from them, do it every single time. I'm perfectly fine with it. Keep them out of mine. Keep them out of the main ones.
My only thing is to where I don't want a part-timer to be on the main event, but I do like the part-timers' involvement in a WrestleMania and a SummerSlam, just because I think it adds more drawing power, it adds more name value to it, and it just makes it fun. And again,
but is The Undertaker going to wrestle the first match of a WrestleMania? He's always going to be considered a co-main event, right? No matter who you put him against.
Well, every match to WWE standards is a co-main event. Okay. The only one is not the cruiserweights.
He'll be one of the final 3 matches of a WrestleMania if he wrestles, regardless who he's wrestling.
Yes.
He wrestled Shane McMahon. He was one of the final 3 matches.
Yes.
And that's a slot that, with the talent they have right now, somebody else should have.
If it was with... that's why I don't know with The Undertaker. Because The Undertaker, I think he just needs to call it quits. Shout out to our intro. He just needs to...
But see, that's my point. I'm talking about the 4 people involved in that match, right? I'm literally holding on to Triple H, HBK, Undertaker, Kane, right? Let's stick with those 4 for right now in discussing that. And like Triple H, like I said, I understand his involvement. It's like Vince McMahon main eventing shit. He's always going to have some type of feud.
Triple H
random
is always
match.
Triple H is always going to be in one of your 3 or 4 co-main events or whatever like that. But the reason why I don't think it would bothers you as much is because normally Triple H will be involved from a storyline perspective to where it makes sense.
Yes.
Examples to where Daniel Bryan, that made sense. The Seth Rollins storyline, that made sense.
Right.
What other matches was he? What was he at? No, that was... the Ronda Rousey one.
Right.
Again, like, as dumb as it is, like, Ronda Rousey was your new talent you were putting over there.
Yeah.
What else was he in? What was his match for 31?
Was that the one we were at?
No, we were at 32. That was
Reigns.
Reigns.
That was Reigns.
What was 31? Sting.
Yeah.
That's right. It was Sting.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, that match was dumb. Like, my issue with that match was, and this is kind of funny too, was that during that match you had DX versus NWO in the middle of that match, and I get why they did it. But the storyline that they were building up to was not the NWO versus DX.
Yeah.
It was not WCW versus WWE. So,
right.
like, them coming out, like, I understood what they were trying to go for, but it made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I would have rather Sting never wrestle than have what happened happen. If Sting was going to lose, and I know most people probably agree with me, it should have just been the Undertaker beating the Sting. It should have just then been them finally wrestling, and I don't care if they could have went out there and stared at each other for 10 minutes. And then the Undertaker chokeslam him, give him the tombstone, and people would have been... They wouldn't have been thrilled about it, but I felt like they would feel better about that than that garbage that they gave us between Triple H and Sting.
It wasn't a bad match. It was just...
It just didn't make sense.
It was poorly executed.
Yeah.
Again, honestly, like, building up to that match, I was kind of excited for it. Like, I was like, all right, like, I think this is going to be decent. And then shenanigans. Like... Yeah. DX came out, and that made no sense. And then, like, especially because of, how, like, at this point, the Clique was no hidden thing anymore. So it's like, wait, you have Nash and Hall going against Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and then then Waltman's in the middle. And I'm like, none of this makes any sense. Because then at the end of the match, X-Pac had his DX shirt, and he ripped it off to an NWO shirt. I'm like... All right, like this, they didn't make sense for the story that they were telling. Now, if they built it up for an NWO versus a DX storyline, then that would have
where it was like Sting against Triple H, and Triple H had DX, and Sting was like, me and these group of guys never seen eye to eye, and like. Over the course of time, he was bringing in NWO to be in his corner. Like
that was the other thing too, is that Sting was never in the NWO.
He was only in the Wolfpack, I think, and that was at the tail end of WCW.
Yeah, and wasn't the Wolfpack against the NWO or
the
whatever?
Black and White? Yeah, the Wolfpack was made to go against. So that was Nash, I believe.
I think so, but yeah, so it made no sense for those three to help Sting.
Yeah, that's like you said. Sense. Yeah, it was like it was the nostalgia thing. It was completely what this. It was completely what this is going to be.
But are you the destruction against? So, like you said earlier, like so you're not interested in this. Are you? It sounds like you're at least happy. It's happening on one of these shows, and like you said, not on one of your main pay-per-views.
Yeah, I'm happy it's happening here as opposed to Backlash. Like I'm happy that they're not wasting what they consider a storylined pay-per-view with something like this. Yeah, I understand why it's happening. I get it. I'm not happy about somebody coming out of retirement for it. I just... 3 out of the 4 are not retired. HBK is retired. Don't bring him out of retirement.
If he comes out and does a good match, I at least hope... like, I hope this isn't a one and... like, I hope this isn't his one and done match. Like, if he is coming out... let's get Styles or Daniel Bryan in there. I would like to see one of those matches. Like, at least give us that, and maybe that's like the trade-off, to where it's like, all right, he does this match, which we're not dying to see, but that means maybe at Mania we get HBK versus Styles.
See, and I
may
be considered a I'm gonna say this name and I love Kevin Owens, but like, I don't even say Samoa Joe. Give him somebody like that. Let them dominate the fuck out of him. And it helps him put over somebody as a different thing. You know what I mean? Like, I know you want to see those matches, but I feel like those older guys should be there purposely to put over somebody else. Let fucking Adam Cole come out and challenge him. Beat him.
But I would be fine with that because that story makes sense because Adam Cole is the next Shawn Michaels.
And that's what I'm trying to think of. Like, let's say they come up, and they're like, DX is old news, the Undisputed Era is the new thing. They come up on the main roster, and Adam Cole challenges Shawn Michaels and says, you should have stayed retired, stuff like that. And they have this really big match, and Adam Cole beats him.
Oh, that'd be a hell of a you could do a 4. There's a good Survivor Series match. The Outlaws and Michaels and Triple H versus Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and Red Dragon. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish.
But that's what, like, I feel like when those guys come back, it should be to put somebody over. You know, like, I feel like the whole Triple H thing was to launch Seth Rollins to a different, level.
Yeah, but
that was the purpose of it.
I agree, but sometimes you do just need to have these nostalgic blow off, like, because, and again, this is where it comes into me. It's like you have the ability to have these matches.
It depends. If Michaels is coming back and knowing I'm going to wrestle at least a couple, like if Michaels is coming back in the Chris Jericho role, where he knows he can wrestle a little bit. Okay, if he's coming back and saying, I have one more big match in me, I feel like it should be done to put somebody else at the next level. And I don't know that a him and Daniel Bryan or a him and AJ Styles does that. But a him against Adam Cole, especially in front of an audience that might not know Adam Cole that well, it puts that in his resume to people that don't know who he is he's the guy that officially retired Shawn Michaels. He's the guy that stopped Shawn Michaels' comeback.
It's what we should have gotten with The Undertaker, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I agree with that. As much as it, like, people, like you said, like, people are not going to, like, I wish Roman Reigns beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania would have had so much more impact if he had not lost to Brock Lesnar.
Right.
And I wish, like, even though I liked what happened with Brock Lesnar, because then it built, like, even though it sucks now, like, that 2-year kind of storyline to where Lesnar was this unstoppable beast, I think was a great storyline for showing him beating The Undertaker at Mania. But if, like, that would have, I think, pushed Reigns up, like, pushed him to that next level if he was the one that retired it. I would have loved to see Punk retire The Undertaker.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. So, like, that's where it does suck. So, yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
And even if when Reigns beat The Undertaker, let's say he dominated him, like, from start to finish, dominated him.
I mean, he really did if you watch that match, but that's not how it was put over.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, he just went out there, he basically Goldberged him, beat him in no time flat. And then we never seen The Undertaker again.
Yeah.
That at least is a way to put Reigns over him, even after Lesnar did it. Even after Lesnar beat him. But that's not the way these things work, unfortunately, as we're seeing.
Yep. Well, this turned into, from a kind of let's talk about random topics to retirement angle and apparently agents in the world of professional wrestling.
It's Saudi Arabia, Australia.
Yep. So I'm going to wrap it up here just because I think this is good for this week. Anything else you want to add real fast at the end?
I'm just happy we didn't go to another topic because we would have talked for another hour.
And
I have some gripes with the women's evolution, but that's for another time.
Yeah, we'll probably. I would like to not necessarily do a full episode, but talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think once the card is almost more official and we get closer, I think
there are a couple matches. I am excited that we're getting a Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane.
Oh my god, love that! Love that being on the card. I don't necessarily say I have a gripe. It might be more about people's reaction to what we're getting so far is what I have the gripe with.
I won't say the competitors, but the Mae Young finals are also taking place during the Evolution. I'm very excited for that match. I read the spoilers of the thing, so I'm excited for that match as well. I have yet to really watch a couple episodes of the Mae Young Classic, but from what I've been reading about it, the matches have been great.
Yeah, I have to get around to. I actually just caught up on NXT episodes actually last night.
How was the Pete Dunne Ricochet match?
It was Pete Dunne Ricochet. I mean, it was as good as you as good as you expected, and unfortunately, it ended the way we expected.
Yeah, I heard how. Yeah, I heard how it ended. But if it's I think from what I've Yeah, that I won't go because I think it was in the next tapings. Stuff was.
No, it actually was already announced. If you're saying what was announced that came out of it, William Regal announced the triple threat match.
Okay, all right, yes,
yeah, that was. I think that was announced the last
and
this
it's
past
Ricochet
Wednesday.
versus Cole versus
Pete Dunne. Which, that made that match so much better, and I think it's only for the North American Championship.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, you got Women's Evolution. The Super Show, the Australian one, I think is this Saturday morning. I might wake up for it. I haven't decided yet. I like waking up for these shows.
You already got a long day ahead of you on Saturday, don't you?
Oh, yeah, Temple Game and the Wonder Years.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sober as shit. Well, with that being said, damn it, I meant to top this again with a big thank you. Like, thank you for everyone, because we're up to episode 30. I'm excited for that. And then all the downloads. Like, we're 11,050. Yeah. So
all the followers on Podbean and everybody that keeps downloading and stuff like that. At one point, I thought Walton was playing a cruel joke on me, and
nope.
just buying a bunch of computers and going on friends' computers and downloading it. But
I only set up the podcast to download automatically on one of our friends' phones.
Well,
so
did they listen to even a part of an episode?
Probably not.
Yeah. Well.
So.
Damn it.
Yeah. So. I guess with that being said, we don't know if Peachy will be back next week. Have no idea.
I'm not even sure where he is.
Yeah,
it's been 3 weeks. I'm concerned. Anybody, if you know anything about the whereabouts of Peachy, we would like to know.
Yeah, just let us know. But yeah, I don't know what we're doing next week. Hopefully, it's a lot better than this week.
Yeah, this is lovely. This was better than any of the Peach bits. No offense, Peach. We want you back.
Yeah, we're Peach. If you listen to this, we're going to do a Peach pit whenever you come back.
Yes.
So there's no chance he knows he's doing a Peach pit. So, but with that being said, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sticking with us for 30 episodes. We hope you stay. Listen, I'm happy if you stay another episode.
Yeah.
But stay with us for 30 more. If we get to 60, I'll be ecstatic.
Yeah, and subscribe and tell your friends.
Yep. With that being said, everyone, have a good week. We'll catch you next week. Later, guys.